area you choose to be. So let's begin with the Where did I come from? I came from the south side of Chicago. I came from the hood. Recently, a few years ago, I did a tour with Russell Simmons, Eminem, Master P, Fantasia, Commons, and it was called Get Your Money Straight and Get It Right.
Get your money, man.
Now, what qualified me to stand on stage with those people? Because I came from where they came from. If you don't know Chicago and you don't know the South Side, when you turn on your TV and you see all the murders and everything that's going on in Chicago, that is where I lived. The truth of the matter is, I was the minority. I was one of the only white little girls in a sea of black faces. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. When I'm asked to speak, I have spoken to over 200,000 people in an audience in Atlanta, and every single person in that audience was black. And I was the only white speaker out of all the speakers. And that is because it is said that I am a black woman trapped in a white woman's body.
Say it again.
That's true, on some level, at least for me, is I have a long top on. And my producers are here today. Suzanne's one of my producers. And they always tell me to stay seated behind the desk because I have a lot of junk in my trunk. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. When I was 5, 6, and 7, and 8, I had a speech impediment. I could not pronounce my R's, S's, or T's. Words such as beautiful, and if a phone rings, that is fine, and do not be embarrassed about it, whoever that was. A little big chime went over here, and everybody looked at him like, that's fine, I gave you permission. Don't be afraid. You need to feel free, people. If you don't feel free, you feel trapped. If you feel trapped,
I feel business person.
and because I have this speech impediment, words like beautiful come out as boobidle. True, because I could not speak, I could not read. In Horseman on the south side of Chicago, back then, they graded you with these reading exams. And they sat you in the class according to your reading score. I always got the lowest score. So I was in the last row, last seat. I knew I was dumb, stupid, so why should I even try? My parents had no money. My mother was a secretary. Now, we're going back a ways here. I know I don't look it, and if you think I do, you are dismissed. But in June, I am going to be 60 years old. You would have no doubt that I was going to be 60.
He sang it.
To you too one day. But truthfully, back in I was born in 1951, and back then, women did not work. It was expected that a woman stayed home, took care of the children, and the man would work. However, yes, you all want those days to come back. No, you do not. Although what is starting to happen now, just so you know, is that women are working and the men are staying home. I never got a grade above a C when I went to the University of Illinois. I myself had to work in a dish room, restaurants, and everything to put myself through school. In high school, I had to work the whole time because nobody had any money. And in 1973, I decided, never having left Illinois prior to that, I was going to see the world. So I borrowed $1,500 from my brother Bobby, and I headed out. I bought a Ford Econoline van, and I headed out to California to seek my fortune. I lived in that van on the street for 3 or 4 months because I could not afford the first and last month down to rent an apartment. I lived in that van until I landed my dream job, a waitress at the Buttercup Bakery, making $400 a month. Now listen to me closely, everybody. I wasn't just a waitress at the Buttercup Bakery making $400 a month from 1973 to 1974. Nope. I was a waitress from 1973 to 1974, 1974 to 1975. 1975 to 1976 to 1977 to 1978 to 1979 to 1980, when I'm now 29 years of age and I have an idea. I can open up my own restaurant. So I call up my mom. You'll relate to all of this. I call up my mom. I go, Mom, if you could just give me $20,000, Mom, I could open my own restaurant. And she says, Susie, honey, $20,000. That's more money than we have to our entire name. Where are we going to get that kind of money?
The lottery.
And I said, Mama, lottery, you should bet. Did you hear somebody say lottery? I don't, it wasn't back then, by the way. There wasn't a lottery. But anyway, and so Mama takes up the phone, and I told her I was sorry, and I go to work the next morning. And this gentleman, who I've been waiting on for 7 years by the name of Fred Hasbrook, said to me, Susie, what's wrong? You don't look happy today. I told Fred the story. He went back and he sat down with all the other customers that I had been waiting on for 7 years. Fred then comes back up to the counter, and he's got all this paper, scraps of paper, everything rolled up, and he just puts it on the counter. I said, what's this? And he said, here, Susie, start to open it. One after another, I'm opening these scraps of paper that were checks and commitments totaling $50,000. With it was a little note that said, this is for people like you to have your dreams come true, to be paid back in 10 years with no interest if you can. I've never seen that much money in my life at that time. I'm shaking. And I said, Fred, I have to ask you a question. Are these checks going to bounce like all mine do? Now, I'm going to put a pin in the story for a second. I was a waitress making $400 a month. And I have to tell you, I loved being a waitress. I was proud to serve those people. I looked forward to going to work every single day because I was happy doing what I was doing. I was happy simply to have a job. Because remember, I knew I was dumb. I knew I was stupid. So that's what I thought I was meant to do. So I was going to do it better than any other person had ever done it.